Hi everyone, welcome to today's lesson here at Active Self-Protection. We are sure glad that you're here to join us. I bet you can tell that this is not our typical intro because we ran out of those. And so we're here teaching this weekend in Grand Junction, Colorado, so you get this special intro. I'm your host as always, John Correa.
And I'm your co-host, Neil Widener.
It is Christmas Day in New Orleans, and this man is delivering some gumbo to a friend because it's Christmas Day in New Orleans. And he's left his car running, that very nice red SUV, and left the doors open on that car. As things go forward a little bit, as he's waiting to deliver the gumbo, you're gonna see some dudes who are going to come by and on Christmas frickin' Day, decide they're gonna steal his car. Guy jumps out and is gonna jump in his driver's seat and take off with it. Well, our owner takes umbrage and he is then going to run out to try to stop him. Guy's gonna hit him with the car, he gets around the hood, hits him a second time and stops. And then he throws the gumbo, so no more gumbo delivery, and jumps up on the hood and starts climbing in the moonroof. Grabs a hold of our car thief's hoodie. And our car thief doesn't like that hoodie grab and then is going to then shuck the hoodie and run off and get back in the car and go on his way. Thankfully, our defender here was not harmed. If you go read the news stories I've linked in the description, he says that he recognizes maybe he could have done some things better here, but he was just tired of the crime in his community and he just had to do something. We're going to talk about it in the lessons.
Palm pepper spray is next generation OC spray. It's hot at 1.4% major capsaicinoids, and its modular design means you can customize it exactly to you. 3 different setups, lots of different color combinations. You can make it exactly as you like. And the flip top safety prevents accidental discharges. It's 10 to 12 foot range and 25 half-second blasts. Make sure that you can keep that long range eye poke at long range. I trust Palm OC and I recommend it for everyone for self-defense.
I want to say up front, Neil, I don't want to give this guy too hard of a time here. And what a cool Good Samaritan, right? I'm going to deliver some, it's very New Orleans, I'm going to deliver some gumbo to a friend on Christmas Day. But this whole thing doesn't happen if he doesn't leave his car running. Or at the very least, if he leaves the car running and locks the dang doors and maybe doesn't leave the moonroof open if the guy gets real creative. And you know, this idea of preclusion, should he have to lock his doors? No. Should he have to leave the car not running? No. You know, he should be able to leave $100 bills out on the sidewalk and people not take them, but that's not the world we live in. And so it was really unwise to leave his car running here.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. You know, I think while there's a lot to this and we're going to unpack the rest of this video, all of this goes away if he locks the doors, if he shuts the car off. I mean, there's lots of ifs and ands, but you know, in 2023, 2024, whatever time frame this is in, leaving your car running with the doors unlocked in a suburban area just is a bad idea. We never see anything good happen from that. And you may get in and out of your car 10 times or 100 times without something happening. It takes one for all of this to go sideways. And what we're going to see, this ends up being pretty costly no matter what, whatever way you look at it.
Yeah, and listen, again, it's a fairly modern car. It looks like a nice car. Probably has a Bluetooth key that you just leave in your pocket, right? Lock the doors when you get out of it. If you feel like you had to leave the heater on because it's cold, it's Christmas Day, okay, fine. You know, I do want to stop for just a second as well and just marvel at the world we live in too, Neil, because you'd think freaking Christmas Day, man, that you're safe from criminals stealing your car. We're safe from car thieves roaming the neighborhood on Christmas Day. But the unfortunate truth is that's just not the world we live in. And so you do have to think about your safety and your security and your decisions even on Jesus's birthday.
Well, you know, one of the things that I got to thinking about as I watched this is, you know, on Christmas Day, that maybe that's a better time for these bad guys to go out and do things because people are less likely to have their security in mind. Where, you know, this is, you know, a time of fellowship and a time of being together with folks and giving gifts and all of that kind of thing. Maybe that's a time that people let their guard down. And I'm just speaking anecdotally here. I don't have any stats or anything to back that up. But, you know, this guy looks like he's out there just doing a great thing. And who doesn't like gumbo, right? If somebody dropped off gumbo at my house, I would be thrilled. But you just can't let your guard down because bad guys apparently don't take a day off.
And of course, I don't want to blame our defender here for what happened. The fault for what happens lies with the car thief, okay? This is wrong. This is morally wrong. And so does he have the right to stop somebody from stealing his car? The answer to that is yes, you absolutely have the right to stop someone from stealing your property. That's anything from the bubble gum in your pocket, assuming you have bubble gum in your pocket, to your car, to your home. People don't have the right to steal. You have the right to stop them from doing so. And I honor this man's anger at crime in his neighborhood, but I do want to think about what this costs and what the risks are here, okay? Because he runs off with a car, guy's got a nice car, he's got a deductible to pay, okay? Maybe it's $1,000. And I know some people go, well, but John, not everybody has full coverage insurance on their car. Friend, if you can't afford full coverage insurance on your vehicle, you absolutely can't afford the lawyer's fees and the hospital bills that are highly probable if you step into an event like this, okay? And so I want you to think about that. It's a $500 or $1,000 deductible. Those are the most common deductibles on insurance policies that if your car gets stolen, they're gonna take. But if he ends up under the wheels on this one, thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars of medical bills that might not be covered. If he ends up, using deadly force against this guy, if he draws a gun on him or something, tens of thousands of dollars in lawyers' fees and missed time at work and your name in the paper and all that stuff. And so I just want you to think about that and not ignore the cost of acting. Yes, there's a cost to not acting. And, I know some other people are going to ask here, Neil, about him drawing a gun here, if he was armed. I don't think he was. But if he was armed, and I think that that's a pretty nuanced issue and in many places could lead you into some trouble.
Yeah, I think in this specific scenario, drawing a gun would have been a bad idea simply because it would be in defense of property. Now he's got if he had a baby seat in the back and his kid's sitting in that thing, then yeah, absolutely, all bets are off. Draw your gun and light this guy on fire to protect your family or loved ones. But for property, it's just a bad idea all the way around. And again, now and I get people are sick of crime and people are sick of criminals taking advantage and all of that kind of thing. But consider the rest of the process here. You've potentially got a windshield to replace. You've got blood to take out. You've got multiple things in the car to fix. Plus, you've got a deductible and all of the legal fees. So if you take all of that into consideration and look at it holistically, drawing a gun in this specific one, I think is a bad idea.
I just think, again, he has the right to stop the guy. This is a felony and a grand theft auto. This is a big deal. And so, man, if you do, please understand it's a bluff if you draw a gun here because you can't use it. And so at the best, you're bluffing. Now, he tries to get in front of the guy. Guy hits him with the car a second time. So at this point right here, he's just been assaulted with what certainly a normal person could conceive of as this could bring me deadly force. And I don't think even, Neil, that here we could say that he tried to put himself in front of the car. He was trying to get around the car and stop the guy from stealing it. And the guy stopped him in the midst of that and then hit him with the car. But think about the incredible danger. Yes, I think here if he draws a gun and shoots the guy, I think it's justified conduct because of the striking from the car, likely to cause him death or great bodily harm. But recognize, he then, in getting involved, chooses to put himself at risk of death. And then here he's going to also throw the gumbo, Neil, and that's gumbo foul.
Well, yeah, and I mean, again, I love gumbo. It's one of my favorite things, so I think that's horrible. And I can make a little bit of a joke here. This is a really deadly serious issue that we're talking about. And like you say, I don't think he really chose to wind up in front of that car. Like we've seen some other videos where people step in front of the car to stop them for whatever reason. From my perspective, it looks like he's trying to get around to the door to stop him, and then he hits him with the car on the way. I have no problem at this point for him to draw the gun and use it if he's got one, and obviously he doesn't have one here. I think he would have used it just based on his reaction of everything else. But it's just one of those things where you're like, man, if you don't do something, you feel like a coward in some cases. But the consideration here, if he ends up under those tires, think of the medical or the funeral bills. What does that do to your family? I mean, you get run over by a car, you don't always live. And so, he took a serious risk here. And again, I don't want to put this all on him, but all of this, I think, is avoided if he locks his doors and shuts his car off. And so, you can really, if you really want to go all the way back through this thing and replay it all together, this completely could have been avoided, I think. And again, It's not his fault that bad guys came in and decided this today, but he did have an opportunity to miss all of this.
And I mean, kudos to him for the attitude to climbing the moonroof, right? I mean, I want to give him applause, but at the same time, if you remember, if you've been following the channel even for a few weeks, we had an officer who jumped on the hood of a car a couple of weeks ago, maybe a couple months ago at this point. And I flipped out about it then because of how stupid and dangerous it is. And this is just as dangerous. If this guy decides to hit the accelerator, all of a sudden he is running down the road at 60, 80 miles an hour, holding on for dear life, hood sliding like Bo Duke. And I just, please, friends, do a risk analysis and take smart risks and don't let your emotions carry you away into bad behavior.
I should have talked there. I'm sorry.
Yes, why don't you talk there?
Yeah, you know, John, that's the thing. I look at him jump on that thing, and man, I admire the guts to do something like that in defense of your stuff, because it's still regular force. He's not bringing lethal force to the thing when he potentially could anyway because of the hitting of the car. But again, if you don't analyze what that risk is to you, you know, that cop that you referred to, the guy I think he was in Iowa, broke his back in all of that when he fell off the car. I mean, that guy isn't going to walk right for the rest of his life. And I get it. We're frustrated with people doing bad things. I think we've got other options that we can take along the way to avoid that and cover our ass up front rather than at the end.
100%. Last thing that I want to get here on this is watch this guy then ghost ride the whip. So our perp is going to jump off of the car and, you know, jump out of the car and go. And guess what happens to our car? It wrecks up. So this guy now still has to pay the insurance deductible. So he took all the risks. Now, yes, he saved his car, but straight up, his car is still going to the shop, still going to pay the same deductible, still probably going to be gone for just as long as if these guys had joyridden it around the neighborhood for 2 days. And I admire him for stopping the crime. I admire him for having courage. My mission here at Active Self Protection is to help you to make smart choices, to do the right thing for yourself. And this was just poor risk analysis, okay? And even he admitted that in the news story. So please, he ends up paying the deductible anyways. Thank God he wasn't hurt. Thank God his family didn't hear about him dying under the wheels of his car on Christmas Day, or hear of him being ambulanced to the emergency room critically injured and what that entails. And all that was lost here at this point is he gets a janky, nasty, sweaty hoodie and he loses out on giving Gumbo as a gift. Let's learn the lessons so that we don't have that same thing, but we cover our ass.